Nicole, what happens if someone didn't lodge a tax return last year? Can you lodge two at the same time, or do you just put both of them into the one? How does that work?
No, so you definitely need to lodge a tax return for each year, and there are due dates for lodgement. If you haven't lodged your return by the due date, or for some reason, whatever, you are lodging two at once, you do definitely need to lodge two separate returns. You just need to be mindful that you could get interest and penalties charged, and particularly if you have a tax liability, there may be the penalties. So usually they will just charge some interest, may not charge a penalty, but that's all up to the tax office
Some discretion.
Yeah, whether they do it or not. But definitely don't put it all in one return. It needs to be in each individual return.
Yeah. And I guess with the way technology is now and the digital payments to the ATO from your employer's bookkeeping software and whatnot, it would be very it would be hard to put it all in the one return anyway.
Well, particularly with the income, that income is
it's financial year, right?
Yeah, and it's financial year, and you would be surprised at the amount of information the tax office actually get. So they know the interest you've received, the dividends, the payment summary income. They also know if you're a contractor. The people that you are contracting to, they lodge a taxable payments report that tells the tax office how much you've actually received. So the tax office know lots.
It's so weird,
and you
isn't
really
it?
just it's really tricky to put that additional income all in the 1 year. You could put expenses all in the 1 year because the tax office don't know that, but that's not right. You need to allocate those expenses against the income that it's earned.
The wild thing is, if someone did do a tax return late, so what you're saying is they could penalise you for that, but if you did owe money for that financial year, they might back pay or back charge interest. Now, the wild thing is I would hypothesise that if you did a tax return late and they owed you money, they wouldn't pay any interest on top of that money.
Oh, no, not usually,
Yeah.
but, the tax office is a funny beast sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you see that sort of thing coming through.
So there is a discretionary play sometimes.
Oh, sometimes it is. It's a bit hard because sometimes we see that happening and then other times you don't. So I would say try and get your return done by the due date. That saves all the issues. I know life happens at times and it is a bit tricky, but the idea is that you get it lodged by the due date.
So the end of the financial year, obviously, well, for some it might not be obvious, 30th of June, the new financial year starts on the 1st of July. If you don't have an accountant, what's the due lodgement date?
31st of October.
Right, so you don't have long.
No, not really. And it's important to make sure that you wait for the information to come through. Make sure you have everything available. And I also would not lodge your return straight off the bat, straight after 1st of July.
Yeah.
Give it a couple of weeks because of all this information the tax office have, you need to make sure that it all comes through properly. Unless you have very specific records and you know that that's right 100%, then that's a different story. But, yeah.
Yeah, and we might swing back around and touch on that. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favour? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.